North Dakota. I'm Kimberly Suba, and I'm an author, speaker, podcaster, communications professional, and a former educator. But at the heart of all of those things, I consider myself a storyteller. I write for children and young adults, and much of my work centers around faith, courage, healing, hope, and helping people recognize that their stories matter. I'm also the host of the Butterfly Girl podcast, where I have conversations about faith, transformation, and becoming who God created us to be. One of the most meaningful parts of my work is that 100% of all the proceeds from my books are donated to organizations that help children, including children who have experienced abuse and trauma. A lot of my inspiration comes from people and their stories. I'm fascinated by what people have overcome, the dreams they carry, and the ways they find hope again. My faith is also at the center of everything I write. I love noticing the ways God shows up in seemingly ordinary moments and discovering the story hidden within them. And if I choose one book to read for the rest of my life, it would absolutely be the Bible. First of all, if I'm stranded on a desert island, I'm definitely going to need God. But Scripture is also something you can return to again and again and discover something new every time. Plus, technically, the Bible is a collection of books, so guess I found a little loophole there. Of all the books I've written, one is I'm especially proud of, Ellie Finds Her Brave Voice. It was inspired by Aaron's Law and helps children learn about personal body safety, safe secrets, safe touch, unsafe touch, and the importance of telling a trusted adult when something is wrong. In the story, Ellie is carrying an unsafe secret and has to find the courage to use her voice. As a former educator, I know how important it is to give children age-appropriate words for difficult situations. And I want every single child who reads Ellie's story to know their voice matters. They should keep telling until someone listens, and because they deserve to be safe. And if that book helps one child find their voice, then I find it was worth the writing. I would describe my writing style as conversational, vulnerable, and hopeful. I want readers to feel like they're sitting across the table having a conversation. And even when I write about difficult things, I always want to leave room for hope. That style of writing has totally evolved over time because I've learned to trust my readers more. Earlier on, when I was first writing, I felt like I needed to explain everything. Now, I'm more comfortable creating a moment and allowing the reader to experience it for themselves. I've also become more willing to be vulnerable and to ask not just, what do I want to say, but what does the reader need from the story? One writer I really admire who has helped shape my own writing is Esther Fleece Allen. I love the honesty in her writing and the way she explores faith, suffering, healing, and hope without making any of those things seem simple. I'm drawn to writers who are still willing to tell the truth about difficult experiences while still leaving room for that redemption. Words have actually been part of my life for a very long time. I've been writing since I was in high school. And I know I don't look it, but I've been out of high school for over 30 years. Writing has become a way for me to express things I didn't always know how to say out loud. Over the years, that became poetry, journaling, writing for teaching, ministry, and now eventually books. And at some point, I realized that words hadn't simply become something I enjoyed. They had been with me all along. I have also been very blessed because I really haven't experienced writer's block. I believe the big reason for that is that all of my writing comes from prayer. Whether I'm writing a children's book, a novel, a podcast script, or even an academic paper, prayer is where it begins. Instead of simply asking, what should I write about? I ask myself, God, what are you asking me to say? And then I try to listen. For anyone who feels called to write but isn't sure whether to pursue it professionally or simply as something they love, my advice is pretty simple. Write anyway. You don't need a publishing contract or thousands of followers to call yourself a writer. Write the story. Take the class. Submit the manuscript. Start the blog. You may eventually discover that writing becomes a career, or it may always remain something you simply love doing. Either way, your words have value. Sometimes success isn't selling thousands of books. Sometimes it's one person telling you, your words helped me see differently. Your words helped my child speak up. And I'll have a wonderful opportunity to celebrate those words and stories on September 26th because I'll be in Jamestown, North Dakota for the North Dakota Book and Arts Festival. I'm really excited to spend the day with authors, artists, readers, and people who love stories as much as I do. I'll be sharing my books, meeting readers, and talking about writing. So if you're in Jamestown on September 26th, I hope you'll stop by and say hello.